on the Aggie Sports Network. From Learfield, Aggie basketball has been brought to you by Sports Academy and Racket Club. Your club, your results, your life. Zions Bank. For 150 years of helping you succeed, Zions Bank is for you. Ford. Build Ford proud. Also by Stokes. Stokes Trucking. Doing the right thing since 1979. Welcome to Aggie Postgame. From the All-in-One Flooring America radio booth, here's Scott Jerrod.
He was at BYU or something.
Yeah.
Welcome on back. You're listening to Aggie basketball from Learfield. It's a final. Utah State gets it done, 79-71. What a fun game tonight. Utah State, what a W. Aggies 24-4 on the season, now 14-4 in the Mountain West, and hold on to second place in the Mountain West Conference.
Man.
Scott Jerrod alongside Spencer Nelson and J.C. Carroll, a couple of Aggie legends. It's been a fun night tonight.
Oh, talk about a great Saturday night in Logan in the Spectrum. I mean, phenomenal crowd. Great game, back and forth. Utah State jumped ahead, and then San Diego State kept it close, but great effort by Dexter Akanno. Great effort by Dayton Albury, and then Ian Martinez sprinkling in some big shots, and then Mason Falslev making winning plays that no one will talk about, but huge plays down the wire.
Mason only ends up with 3 points. That's a season low in points for Mason. And but yet he ends up with 9 rebounds, 2 assists, a couple of steals, and making plays that, as you mentioned, don't show up in a box score, but were absolutely critical for Utah State to get this win. But let's not kid ourselves here, JC. For a guy that had a lot of big nights shooting the 3-ball in this building, Dexter Akanno had one of those nights.
Yeah, he really did. And honestly, as we were looking at it, he was starting to get up to 7 makes, 8 makes. He was getting up there in some elite company as far as makes in a single game here.
Do you have the record for that?
I do.
What's the record? Is
10.
it 10? It's 10. So heck of a night by Dexter.
In this building?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
because I know
sorry.
you had 10 against
Yeah,
New Mexico State, right?
State. In this building, I know what it is. I
How
know
about that?
Cardell Butler used to always give me a hard time. I think he had made 8. So I was kind of curious about those things are of interest to me a little bit. But a great game for him. I think you mentioned Albury had how many free throws? 12 for 13.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable. Like those are free baskets, those are free points, and he was able to get the foul line and get some of their key players in foul trouble by being so aggressive. So all those little things pay off. And then, yeah, like you said, Mason Falslev, the plays he made down the stretch that don't show up in a stat sheet that were winning plays.
How about this? Dayton Albury, the previous 3 games, was 4 of 11 from the free throw line, 62% on the season, and he calmly, in the biggest game of the year so far for Utah State, goes 12 of 13.
Yeah, big points, clutch. He really stepped up and made free throws when he needed them.
Did Jerry Carroll call him before the game and give him his advice?
Did give him a few points. I passed his name along, and Jerry Carroll is if anything, is very generous with sharing basketball knowledge.
Make free throws. Dayton, make free throws.
He's got opinions, huh, Jerry Carroll?
Absolutely.
Scotty, I got to tell you that, I mean, huge win now. I mean, New Mexico's 14-2. First place. Utah State 1 game behind, and obviously New Mexico's got the tiebreaker, but at 14-3, that's a big deal to get now 2 games ahead of 4th and 5th place. Because second and third, does it matter a whole lot? That first matchup a little bit, but that's the key, is you don't want to be that 4th seed. I don't want to say this all but guarantees it, because you got to go to Boise and to Colorado State, then Air Force at home. But, man, that is a really comfortable cushion that they're sitting on to ensure they don't finish in that 4th spot.
Utah State gets it done 79-71. Your post-game show brought to you by Farm Bureau agent Brandon Jensen. Call Brandon right now. Celebrate this win with him. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. 435-752-4800. We'll take a break, and you'll hear from Coach Jerrod Calhoun. And I imagine Dexter Akanno will be joining us on the post-game as well. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield.
This is Ryan, My Mattress. I have a little bit of a bone to pick with online bed-in-a-box mattresses. If value is the combination of price and quality, these beds are not a good value. They cost about $1,000 and they last about 3 years. That's not a very good ratio. At My Mattress, you can get a $799 Sealy Posturepedic that will last you 10 plus years. The best value is at My Mattress. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally?
Need a reliable partner for your medical needs? Look no further than Triton Medical and Transportation. We offer top quality medical soft goods right here in your community. From incontinence supplies and oxygen needs to medical transportation. Whatever you need to stay comfortable and healthy, we've got you covered. Trust Triton Medical and Transportation, caring for our community with every step, every mile. Call us today at 435-557-6687 or visit us online at mytritonsupply.com. Triton Medical and Transportation, because your health matters.
A mouth-watering Cafe Sabor burrito, smothered in cheese and fresh guacamole with endless chips and salsa, plus your favorite drink, all for just $7.95. It's Locals Day at Cafe Sabor. Every Thursday, the drinks are bottomless, the chips and salsa are endless, and the burritos are amazing, all for just $7.95. There's nothing better. It's Cafe Sabor's way of saying thanks, Cache Valley. Don't miss Locals Day every Thursday at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station, 6th West and Center in Logan.
Over the past few years, strong and crazy weather patterns have battered various parts of the country. Northern Utah and southern Idaho are not immune from its share of wild weather. Be prepared for power outages with a Generac backup generator from Golden Spike Electric. They are your local source for Generac sales and service. Generac keeps you in control when bad weather strikes. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
This Aggie broadcast is brought to you by Cafe Sabor, your favorite Latino restaurant in the historic train station on 6th West and Center on News Talk KVNU.
79-71 the final in this one. Utah State gets a have-to-have game tonight. And when Utah State trailed by 4, the Aggies respond on a 14-0 run to come away with that 8-point victory. Coach Jerrod Calhoun joining us for a post-game conversation. And, Coach, there's so many great storylines in this game. Dexter Akanno, Dayton Albury. But this is a game that you really, I got to imagine, in that locker room said, this is a hell of a team victory here.
Yeah, I mean, we told them at halftime, if you want to play in the NCAA tournament, we got to win this game. I mean, point blank. Like, if you want to play to the standard of what this program's about, playing in the NCAA tournament, you got to win your home games, right? So this will carry major weight with the metrics, and really proud of our guys. We could have gave up. I had to chew into them twice about playing defense late in that game because Boyd was unstoppable there for a while. But I give our guys a lot of credit.
Yeah, you talk about Boyd. He took the game over for about a 3-minute stretch. We were talking about the timeout. Stu called it a kill. 3 stops in a row. Got to get a kill. Can't remember at the 2.5-minute mark, and JC and I were like, man, you got to get a kill. And you do. You go 3 stops in a row. Talk about those possessions. Help. It felt like everyone was helping on the ball at that time.
Yeah, we tried to get into different pick and roll coverage because Boyd's so good at getting to his left. We were so late in our drop coverage. We were too far back. Then we went ice, and I thought that worked a little bit better. But you just get to a point where when a guy's scoring like that, you got to say enough's enough. You got to keep your chest on his. I thought we did a good enough job on our inch out. Some of those passes were high, and the sense of urgency picked up.
You look at a guy like Dayton Albury, who came into this game, his last 3 games, he was 4 of 11 from the free throw line, and he ends up going 12 of 13. Those are, for a guy that's been 62% on the year, the biggest game of the year so far, and he steps up and hits it like that.
And if you come up here at night between 8 and 10, he's in here shooting free throws, Scotty. So him and Mason work very, very hard, and Dex is a morning guy, so Dex is in here shooting in the morning. You know, it's amazing, JC, the guys at work end up making the shots, right? And you're the all-time leading scorer, so you would understand what hard work means.
Yeah, it's crazy how those things translate, little extra reps and stuff like that. I get asked a lot of times by a lot of parents, a lot of young people, hey, how do my kids get better at shooting free throws? It's time in the gym, repetition, and awesome to see the results of that hard work for Albury. And then, Akanno, talk about him a little bit. 9 for 12, 7 for 9 from 3. Like he was your offensive spurt there for much of the game.
You know what he is, JC? He's just a guy that's he just does everything right, man. He's like a guy that you would love for your daughters to marry. He's like in that false love mode where he brings it every day. He doesn't have many bad days. He's a morning guy. His mom, Mercy, is wonderful. I hope she's here. raised him, single mom. She's a nurse. And just a great kid. I mean, their assistant asked me before, because they recruited him too. It actually came down to us and them. And, when Aduje went into the portal at the 11th hour and, demanded what he wanted, woke us up in the middle of the night in our Airbnb. We had to get to plan B quick. And Dexter Akanno was that guy, because we told him no, we were not going to take him. And I love the trade. I think the trade's been pretty good.
Oh, great trade. Dexter traditionally has been, hey, spot up, open shooting. Tonight it felt like you were running more action for him. I mean, once you saw that and he was seeking it out, at what point did you say, okay, let's keep riding this horse?
Yeah, Mace could just really never get going. It was almost like he had the yips a little bit, like he was open, but then, you can drive it. But, to me, it's like he passed up a couple early transition.
On this one.
Like the one mores. You got to let those things ride, and he didn't. And they kind of got, clunky with his offense. So I was like, we got to get Dex shots. And Tuck missed a ton of shots, too. I mean, I don't know how many more open shots we can get him. He's wide open every possession.
Huevos on your part, end of the first half, to run the wheel play for him. Yeah. But then what was great, and you love to see it for the kid, is Drake in transition, passing ahead, and then knocking it down. That was a big shot.
Yeah, I thought we should have been up 12 or 14. I mean, like, we scored 79. We should have had 90. And on these guys, that's incredible, because they guard.
Yeah, we talked about those guys. We kind of skipped over Ian Martinez, who ends up having a great game. 18 points, 4 for 9, 3 for 6 from 3, 7 from the line. Like, ends up 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Ends up having a really great game. Made some big shots, big transition. You guys ran a little pin down for him where he came off and hit a big 3 with a guy in his face.
Yeah, you're 100% right, JC. It's like we just expect that from him.
Yeah,
I hate to say that anymore, but he gets 17, 18 a night. He's first time in his career he's ever been a positive assist to turnover ratio guy. I'm really proud of him for that. I thought he rebounded well. But Mason, he made a huge play, stole the ball. Yeah. He had 9 rebounds. So a guy that has an off night, he figures it out with some defense, some toughness. Gadaretsky gets 6 rebounds. As a team, guys, we out-rebound them by 8. They're massive. I mean,
huge.
Their roster's $2.4 million in the size that these guys have. Triple our NIL budget. You know what I mean, JC? So it's even more rewarding when you beat those teams. I love it.
Absolutely. No, I walked in the gym, and when I sat down, I kind of looked at Spencer. I go, oh, did we play? We played against guys like this? Like, they just seem so big, so athletic.
Coach, I told him they wear smalls. We were wearing XLs, so it looked baggy. You couldn't see the definition, but they all wear small jerseys, but they are really big. And speaking of big, so Aubin had his struggles in certain areas, but huge job on the boards on keeping it alive. There were numerous balls, and Dexter's layup with a few minutes to go, it all came because Aubin came and just kept the ball alive.
No, you're right, Spence, and those are plays that don't come into play. But, JC, I got to tell you this before I go up. So, Steve McLean, I talked to Steve the other day, and I had to bust his chops about not recruiting you. He claims that he did. I said, JC and I become pretty close.
Yeah.
And he said you did not recruit. He said he did, but I don't know.
Look, to be perfectly honest,
Wyoming. This is what
I would love to just go to lunch with the guy. I would, because we never. I met one time. I had one conversation with him.
Really?
That was I went to Laramie, sat, watched the game. They brought me in the locker room, talked to me. That was the only conversation I had with the guy. So I was a Wyoming guy. It was one more phone call, and I would have been at Wyoming.
Dude,
wow.
a lot of.
I'll be honest.
Worked out well for the Aggies.
Yeah, it worked out well for the Aggies.
But I busted his chops the other day. He called me about something else.
I would love to talk to him.
A lot of dudes have gotten fired because of this guy. In all seriousness, down south, school not named of, assistant coaches got fired because
it happens
of this.
all the time, though.
No, I know. They miss it. You hear all the stories of how guys
Joe Mazzulla and I joke about this one. So Haywood Highsmith, his father played at Fairmont State, was in our Hall of Fame. He lived in Fairmont, West Virginia. We did not recruit his son. He plays in the NBA. Went to the school in our league and became a 2-time All-American. So every time the Miami Heat play the Celtics, he texts me. He says, "Haywood Highsmith."
Well, they hit on JC, but there's a Damian Lillard story that's floating around somewhere.
That's a good one too.
there's so many misses and
Were you on the
then so many
broadcast
gets.
tonight, Jason?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
that's
was
awesome.
here.
It was
I
awesome.
love it. I love
He
it.
was
kind
gonna-
enough to invite me.
He was like,
Good.
Connor hits number 7. He's like, okay, now let's
Slow-
calm it
slow
down a little
we
bit.
Got, my record's 10.
We don't need. What
we
is
don't
the
need
record?
11.
10. Yeah.
Oh, they'll probably ask me about.
Then he got his 4th foul, and I was like, well, there it goes. So, you gotta
Oh, I love
look,
it.
you're better, more opportunities on the court than off the court.
Coach,
love
huge road trip
Yeah,
coming up. We'll
thanks,
let you
guys.
go, but
Jason,
thanks for
good
your
seeing
time.
you.
Good luck.
Congrats.
There he is, the head coach.
You were there. You watched the game. Or you heard it all here on KVNU. So now it's your chance to give your thoughts and ask your questions about the action as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The phone line is 435-753-KVNU. The text line is 435-554-1175. KVNU Aggie Game Day is brought to you by Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Heating and Air, Primrose Home Care and Hospice, Blue Sky Restoration, Advanced Garage Door, The Logo Shop, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Golden Spike Electric, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, My Mattress, Riverwoods Conference Center, Cash Valley Bank, Aegis Healthcare, Jarrett's Fine Jewelry, Les Olson IT, Adams Wealth Advisors, DD Auto and Salvage, LSS Insurance Agency, Cafe Sabor, The Sportsman. It's KVNU Aggie Call with J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes.
Light the Akanno blue. The Aggies pick up the victory over the Aztecs 79-71. J.D. Walker, Stockton Jukes, Jalen Moore joining us just a second as that A is blue here in Cache Valley. And we want to invite you to sound off. Phone line 435-753-5868. That's 753-KVNU, 753-KVNU. Phone calls get right to the front of the line, and we'll get to your texts, too. You can also send those in at 435-554-1175 for the Cafe Sabor text line. That's 554-1175. Stockton, first thoughts, kind of a weird ending to the game. I think Jason Walker with the best weird state of the night. Utah State trailed 69-68 with 3:27 left in the game. They didn't make a field goal the rest of the way and won by 8 points. I think that kind of sums up the night.
Well, it says here, JD.
Yes.
That's just, I mean, that's a shot at San Diego State. They've got this, the Twitter account, The Show. Every time they win, it's a says here, and everyone's throwing it back at them tonight. I mean, at least they were smart enough not even to show up tonight. I don't think they've been on in 3 days, so they'll be off for anher 2 weeks. But, man, that
after the first one, they were done for a while. They didn't show up.
That is how it goes over there. But what a gratifying win, man. I was getting a little scared around the 5-minute mark. But that's how you handle business against a team like that. Now, obviously have to acknowledge that Magungwath going out of the game early on is going to impact how this game is played and the ability for Utah State to kind of attack down low and really drive in without that threat, without his shot blocking ability. It was definitely a bit of a gift. That being said, I hate to see stuff like that happen, especially that early in a game. Hope that he's all right. It did not look nice. I'd be surprised if there's not some damage in there, but hopefully he's going to be okay. That being said, I am so pleased with what we've seen out of this team for the last 3 games. You mentioned that we didn't have a field goal for the last 3.5 minutes of that game.
Yeah. San
Diego State didn't for the last 3:42 and didn't score a single point for about 3 minutes, a little over 3 minutes. Utah State ended on a 14-0 run right before those last 2 free throws they hit. So they get themselves in a bit of a shaky spot there, but this team's composure is so good, and we really saw the depth come into play tonight as well, because Ian and Mason talked about really needed those guys to show up tonight. Ian showed up late in that second half. Mason showed up defensively but really struggled offensively, and so to have Dexter Akanno score more than those two combined in a start and get 18 from Dayton as well, that's a huge game from guys that have been in and out of that starting lineup all season.
I mean, Dayton and Akanno accounting for 44 points. Mason not having the big offensive game today, but 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Those rebounds big towards the end as we were trading possessions. Also, a couple of steals coming up. But, yeah, you're right. It's one of those things where you hear a lot about the we over me kind of philosophy. And, look, you win as a team going in there, and to be able to go through And, Ian showing up as, just the veteran leadership that he has. Mason's still young in his college career and developing his game. I think we're going to look back and see Mason continue to develop this. But
and he will come back. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is a lot of his points, a lot of his offensive ability comes in on his ability to hit those dribble drives, but then pull up short of the basket and just kind of float one over that on-glass defense. He really struggles driving to the glass and getting some block shots and trying to find his way around the glass. But when he can stop and pop and float that thing from about 6 to 8 feet out, that's when he really gets those points, and that shot has just not been kind to him for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, so it's one of those things you could find areas that improve upon, but definitely a team win. Going to join us, or Jalen going to join us now for Primrose Health and Hospice sponsors Jalen's Moore's appearance here on Aggie Call.
Jalen brought s'mores? What?
Yeah, I know, man. I'm sitting here stumbling over my words. Jalen, it was one of those nights where I kind of had heart palpitations. I was doing all right at halftime. I get to about 4 minutes left in the game, man, and we're going to have to hook up the AED machine here at Cache Valley Media to make sure that I don't go into cardiac arrest. How was it for you?
Yeah, it's exactly the same way, because you see a guy like Nick Boyd on their team. Gosh, for 3-4 minutes there, he was making some big-time finishes, step-back threes, really controlling the game for San Diego State, kind of doing everything. We knew that him and Bird would be, mostly on Mason and Ian, and they do a pretty good job of holding them in check. Obviously, like you guys said, I thought Ian had a really, really good second half, showed his leadership, did things like that, but like we said, when you come down to these big games, we know most of the time the two best guys are going to get guarded by the other team's two best players. And that's where a guy like Dexter Akanno or Dayton Albury, like, they have to come in and just be productive. And tonight, like, they played their best games in, a Utah State uniform. I thought they did a lot of great things. They shot the ball well. They were aggressive driving to the rim. Dayton shot free throws really well. Like, those two guys really fueled us offensively. And to score 79 points against a team like San Diego State, I thought it was good. I was nervous there. I knew there'd be some big momentum swings because of how good both teams are. But yeah, I was a little bit nervous there when Nick Boyd started taking over and hitting some big shots, but we silenced that and we got the momentum back and answered big time with a lot of it being, setting a high ball screen for Dayton Albury. He's getting the 5 switched on him. And he's able to drive past him and get to the free throw line, and that's where he was able to convert there, and I thought that was big for us.
Do you have any concerns, Jalen, as you look, and of course the stars of the team, Ian Martinez, Mason Falslev, you don't see Mason on the offensive stat sheet for points put in, but then when you look at the gritty stuff to do something, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, making it work that way, it's kind of everybody doing what they can in the moment. Look, if you're not feeling it from the field or it's not opening up for you, you're able to do rebounds. That's what's kind of making this team special, in my opinion. How do you feel about that right now as I think we have got 3 games left in the season here as we're coming down to the end, and, conference tournament, NCAA tournament, all that up in the air. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, honestly, I feel good because, I feel better when I see Dexter Akanno, Dayton Albury, Drake Allen, these other guys that have been showing better consistency when guys like Mason or Ian may not be having the greatest offensive game. Like we said, Mason's just a winner. He finds other ways. If he's not scoring, he's going to find other ways to win. He rebounds, he defends, makes big plays. He dives on loose balls. Like, he does a lot of hustle plays that don't show up on the stat sheet. So I'm not really that concerned when his shot. He's like a plus when his offense is on because he's just going to play hard every night and make things happen. But I feel better. Like, Ian's been pretty consistent for the most part offensively. But like I said, good teams have that 3rd and 4th guy or a guy off the bench that can give you some more of that offense that you need as the season goes on, because a lot of teams will lock in on your 2 best players. And that's what San Diego State, they did a good job tonight. It's just like guys like Dayton Albury and Dexter Akanno, like, they stepped up, took the challenge and made big plays. I thought that was big, and there's been games that we've seen recently where Drake Allen's been the guy to do that. So I feel pretty good that we have, that 3rd, 4th, or even 5th option if we need it offensively. And I think those guys have showcased that.
How do you feel for the final couple of games? I feel like the Aggies have kind of hit their stride. Maybe not the separation that we wanted to see or the big stomping, but San Diego State, a defensive, powerhouse, even with Magoon in there, and unfortunately him getting out. It looks like a nasty hyperextension. Hopefully he's able to recover. An exciting young freshman that is only going to get bigger and refine his game and probably give us nightmares for years to come. How do you feel with the final 3 games coming up for our Aggies? You feel confident going into the last 3 here?
Yeah, I do. I feel confident. We know that game at Boise State, that's going to be a tough one. It's like a rivalry game that's always just crazy stuff always happens up in Boise, So that's a game that as a player and as a fan and stuff, that's a game that always makes you a little bit nervous, is just playing Boise. But gosh, we're playing at a high level, we almost and have the chances and possibility to go into the pit and win. We absolutely blow out San Jose. We beat San Diego State at home. I mean, we're the hottest, if not the top 2 hottest teams in the conference right now. We're playing at a high level. We're getting better. We're having more guys find their offensive consistency. Our bigs are staying out of foul trouble more. I think that's just a lot of big things that are crucial. And our defense is still good. You know what I mean? We're holding teams to 70 points and stuff like that. People are still struggling with the zone. I think our guys are just playing confidently. They're playing together as a team. And, yeah, I'm feeling good about the last 3 games and going into the conference because, like I said, March comes around. You, as a team, you want to be playing your best basketball, and it looks to me like our team is playing the best that we've seen in these last 3 games.
Talking to Jalen Moore here on Aggie Call. You can be a part of the conversation right now. The text line open, 554-1175. The phone line also available, 435-753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. Final thoughts, Jalen, on where they can find you here at your website for prep training. Also love the fact that you guys help with recruiting in the future. There's so much that these student athletes have going on for them just outside of the games that they play, whether it's basketball, football, or field hockey or anything like that. And Jalen and Next Level can help you. Where can they find you, Jalen?
Yeah, for sure. The best way would be visit our website, which is nextlevel435.com. Or if you want to contact me directly, that best way would be through email. And my email is nextlevelbasketball435@gmail.com. But like I always say, if you visit our website, it'll have the training, the coaching, the recruiting, the teams, all that kind of different stuff that we do. That's part of our program. So if you're looking for all that, visit the website. If you want to get directly in touch with me, I would say definitely hit me through email.
Thanks, Jalen, man. We'll talk to you when we take on Boise State on the 26th.
Yep, sounds good. I appreciate you guys.
Jalen Moore's appearance brought to you by Daryl's Appliance. Why buy from Daryl's? They're worry-free delivery and installation. They offer installation on all appliances they sell. We'll hook up gas, water to your appliances and haul away your old appliances for free. Online at daryls.com. J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes with you. Go ahead and hit me real quick.
I've got some very interesting news from Jerrod Calhoun's postgame press conference.
Ooh, hold on just 1 second. We're actually going to take a break. And we'll have Stockton breaking that right after
You're going to
this.
want to stick around for this one, folks.
Okay, just a couple minutes. We got breaking from Jerrod Calhoun's postgame from the Ag Ship, plus your texts, your phone calls, 435-753-5868, 753-KVNU. We'll be back with more Aggie Call.
A mouth-watering Cafe Sabor burrito, smothered in cheese and fresh guacamole with endless chips and salsa, plus your favorite drink, all for just $7.95. It's Locals Day at Cafe Sabor. Every Thursday, the drinks are bottomless, the chips and salsa are endless, and the burritos are amazing, all for just $7.95. There's nothing better. It's Cafe Sabor's way of saying thanks, Cache Valley. Don't miss Locals Day every Thursday at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station, 6th West and Center in Logan.
A diamond is forever and is perfect to represent your love. For those special occasions, give her a natural, one-of-a-kind diamond, as unique as she is. Our exclusive brand of Needham Brilliant Diamonds are white in color, high in clarity, and are recognized for their precise cut. These diamonds are natural, untreated, and are the real thing. Show her you care enough to give her a diamond, an investment for generations to come. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. SC Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
This is Ryan, my mattress. I have a little bit of a bone to pick with online bed-in-a-box mattresses. If value is the combination of price and quality, these beds are not a good value. They cost about $1,000 and they last about 3 years. That's not a very good ratio. At My Mattress, you can get a $799 Sealy Posturepedic that will last you 10 plus years. The best value is at My Mattress. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally?
Spend less time at the post office. With Formax and Mint mailing systems from Les Olson IT, you can quickly, accurately, and easily process your outgoing mail and even save on postage. Fold your documents, stuff and seal your envelopes, print addresses, weigh and measure to apply proper postage, all with the click of a button. With multiple model options available, you're sure to find a Formax solution and Mint mailing device that perfectly fits your business needs.
Les Olson IT.
This is Ryan, my mattress. I have a little bit of a bone to pick with online bed-in-a-box mattresses. If value is the combination of price and quality, these beds are not a good value. They cost about $1,000 and they last about 3 years. That's not a very good ratio. At My Mattress, you can get a $799 Sealy Posturepedic that will last you 10 plus years. The best value is at My Mattress. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally?
KVNU Game Day continues with Aggie Call. More analysis about today's game and your chance to talk about it. Call 435-753-KVNU or text 435-554-1175.
Welcome back to Aggie Call on KVNU 102.1 FM, 610 AM, and around the world at KVNUtalk.com. That's KVNU Logan, Utah. JD Walker, Stockton Jukes with you, and a little bit of breaking news here and something that Stockton's going to share. I'm actually going to say something after it. I told you I was going to do it before, but I'm going to, here is the spotlight. Mr. Jukes, everybody listen up.
Biggest win of the night, in my opinion. This quote coming from the Ag Ship, again in that post-game press conference from Calhoun. Quote, when we were 10-0, Diana and I sat down, and her and I have been on the same page since day one. We're in the process of working out a long-term deal right now.
All right, Aggie fans, raise your right hand. I will not say anything more about Coach Calhoun moving out of town on social media or in text messages with this new news. We will just celebrate that we are going to build a statue to him here in 25 years.
Yeah, why are we all trying to manifest him leaving on social media? Enough of that.
And if I hear one more person suggest Sundance Wicks becoming the coach of the Aggies, guys, can we just enjoy what we have here? And just take a deep breath and understand.
Maybe it'll be 1 year, maybe it'll be 2 years, maybe it'll be 30 years. But guess what? We're winning games right now. Just show your appreciation and stop guessing where he's going to go next, because he might not go anywhere.
Guys, I will put on a two-piece bathing suit and chain myself to Coach Calhoun's vehicles. And that
could be very convincing.
Very, very. I know Coach Calhoun, and nobody else wants to see that, but I'll do everything possible to keep him in town. But this is great news, Stockton. I'm going to grab the phone real quick.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, Calhoun, and we all know that the coaching carousel in Logan is very volatile, and we know that things can change very quickly. Money that we cannot pay can come in out of nowhere. That's not the concern right now. And we do have a text coming in 0783 saying the extension better not drop his buyout like what happened with Craig Smith. Yeah, I would hope so too. You got to be a little bit smart about what you want to do with this extension. Obviously, from an administrative standpoint, you want to keep an eye and an ear on the things that have happened in past contract negotiations and past coaching careers here at Utah State, especially the last 4 years. That being said, I mean, there's two things that I see working in Utah State's favor right now. The first thing is that Diana has this program on track to make a ton of money this season, and we are on our way to a Power 5 conference, which maybe has dropped out of the Power Conference rankings for now, but I don't see it staying that way for very long, especially with that brand intact. The other thing that's working really well for Utah State The coaches that leave have not been nearly as successful as they were here. And yeah, the NIL money or the extra contract money is great for a little bit, but if you have to play and slug it out in the NIT every year, sometimes that money just doesn't cover it. And by the way, the money's coming.
Yeah, Washington, where Coach Sprinkle is at right now, is reading just a little bit earlier. They are basically long shots, Hail Mary to get in to the dance. So big news there. Let's start stacking these text messages, start working through them. I'm going to pull up the first one here, 6021 here on Aggie Call. Regardless if we win or not, I don't understand why Coach takes Akanno out when he's hot. Then we go through the slow stretches I don't understand. So
I think it was foul trouble.
Yeah, I think he picked up 2 pretty quick, and you got to take it off.
He had 4 with like 8 minutes left or something like that, so he had to come off the floor for a little bit. But Calhoun made sure to get him back in late in that game, and that kind of started that 14-0 run. So he knows what he's doing with his personnel. I don't doubt that he's making the correct decisions. It's just sometimes when you got a guy with 4 personal fouls and you're only halfway through that second half, you got to be kind of cautious.
6543 up next here on Aggie Call, 435-554-1175 if you want to join the conversation on the text line. How many more games can San Diego State lose and still be considered an NCAA tournament team? They're not a very good offensive team. I don't believe they are considered right now, or even were before this game considered an NCAA team.
They are defensively built, and that was the biggest thing coming into this one, is they had to keep Utah State interior-minded on offense and really lay on Magoon Gwath to make a difference defensively inside. Gwath goes out 2 minutes into the game, and Utah State hit 11 for 27 from 3. So just the 2 things that could not happen for San Diego State happened very early.
And watching Boyd and Bird, we've seen Donovan Dent come through. We've seen Thomas Jr. from UNLV, and really impressed with those guys. But it kind of left lacking a little bit. Very talented for Boyd and Bird, but the attitude and the things, and telling some of our good friends in the herd some questionable language and things like that. Come on, it just I didn't.
He had a lot to say for someone who shot 2 for 12 from the field and 1 for 9 from 3.
Coming up next on, we got 9315 here with a couple of them here. This is one of many of the reasons the Aggies earned the right to win this game the way we played. Even though the coach for the other team did the Aggies thing, yeah, I saw him kind of doing that. Are we fans of UNLV or Colorado State for the rest of the night? It pains me to ask this. The answer is no. Just enjoy some Aggie ice cream. And don't worry about, Colorado State's got to handle their own business to try to get where they want to go. I guess for tournament.
I think based on what Calhoun said on Wednesday night after the game, we're cheering for the Rebs. He said we need UNLV to win games. Oh, I know it hurts, but we've already beat them twice, so it should. Oh, we beat them once. I don't want to talk about the other one, but we're fine. We're fine to slug it out for a night.
All right, up next on the text line, we got 8968. We are going to get to Coach Calhoun and the player interviews in. Just going to be just a little bit late on those. Had some technical difficulties we're working on right now to get that handled.
CBS did too. Goodness.
Oh man, didn't he not? You ain't seen nothing
was
yet.
Skipping like a scratched DVD. My
man,
goodness,
it was bad. I wanted to take it out, blow it off, and try to put it back in the CD player, but it wouldn't work.
I needed to clean off the disc for a second. It's taking me back to my Wii days.
It seems like a bad trend, but other teams need to have their best 3-point shooting night against the Aggies. They win most of the time. I didn't really see what the team stats were for San Diego State. Let me look here. 3 points.
10 for 30. They shot 33%.
33%. That's not.
And yeah, it is. This is what you have to do to keep pace with Utah State, though. If they're going to have a good shooting night, you have to match that outside. And they did a good job of that in the second half, especially early in the second half when they kind of hit the gas pedal and got that lead for a little bit. That being said, 10 for 30 to 11 for 27. The math's still slightly in Utah State's favor, so they did what they had to do.
Absolutely, to get it done. Next up on the text line, we have got 9406. Dexter was huge, but don't forget about Dayton. He was a beast tonight on the drives. I agree.
Those two, I've said it before this season, but those two have a tendency to go back and forth with who's going to take over off the bench. They both started tonight, and they both took over from the starting lineup. I mean, it was incredible. Dexter obviously had to play a little careful, and so did Dayton because they both picked up 4 personal fouls with about 10 minutes left in that game, and they just did fantastic. I mean, late in that game, too, they were both just kind of throwing themselves into the paint because you know that with Magoon Gwath out of the game, the shot blocking threat is not nearly as high with the other guys on the floor, and they had to foul. They had to foul Utah State to stop some of that momentum. They got caught out of position. Lagoon Glath, again, one of the best players in the country. Really, really good defensively. Knows where to be, knows how to get there. The other guys just not to that level tonight, and Utah State was able to take very big advantage.
From Brady Clark, who covers the Aggies on X, he said, with the game left against Air Force and the Mountain West tournament, I'm confident in saying USU will eclipse the 25 wins this season. It will be the second time in program history they've won 25 games for 3 straight years. The last time was from 2008 to 2011. Kind of a historic run we're seeing here for the Aggies. And the good news is that, you know, look at the recruiting class. Jason Walker broke it down over on Cache Valley Daily. The best recruiting class coming in next season for the Aggies. We still don't know the transfer class. Of course, there's some JUCO stuff that's got to be worked out. So there's a possibility Drake Allen could be coming back to the team. But this team is on the rise, and to have this kind of success, Stockton, how does it feel as a student, as somebody whose family, you know, I've been covering the Aggies here and been for just about a year now, but been in Cache Valley for 3 years, watching the Aggies and stuff, being more involved now. But this has been a part of your family, you know. I know
my grandpa was an old Aggie fan when Wayne Estes was playing.
I know you've got kind of the. Yeah, I can say this because I am a redheaded stepchild, but you got like your dad and your mom and your sister that did like that school down south.
Yeah,
but you know, Stockton,
they started here just like Lavelle Edwards.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this kind of run going on right now for your Aggies?
Oh my gosh, I've never been more jealous of the student section because I don't get to be there. I love doing this, and I love being on this show, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But it does kind of sting not being able to be in the herd for games like this tonight. There's nothing I would have loved more than to give Miles Bird a taste of his own medicine for 40 minutes. They did so well with him tonight, and oh my gosh, that dude, as big of a crybaby as he was back in December, tonight was just so gratifying. I'm sure for them as well, but they do such a fantastic job, man. Shout out to D-Will. Shout out to all the guys that have been there for, you know, quite some time. D-Will posted a picture earlier. No, excuse me. The Bull Sheet posted a picture earlier with D-Will and, and Jacob Nielsen. And, yeah, those guys have been here for a while. They were camping out for the NIT game 3 years ago. And that, I mean, to see the way that the team has improved and the herd has improved, and, I mean, they're in such good hands going forward. I know Dallon's getting ready to end his tenure. I didn't quite catch who got elected as the next herd president, but we have such a strong culture and such a solid group of people at Utah State that I have no doubts that they're just going to continue to get even better and better, and they deserve all the attention they've been getting nationally.
I definitely will reach out to that next leader of the herd to continue our relationship here. It's been fun to talk to Dallon, to be able to help talk about fundraisers and stuff they have on.
This is a gold text. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but right. 5822 said, as a member of the herd, we will wear Miles Bird's words like a badge of honor. Beautiful.
I love that. Get him back into the text line now.
Get him tattooed.
6001. I love sweeping San Diego State. It has been a minute. It's been a very long time since anything like that's happened. From 3494, coming in, Ian's three-pointer right after San Diego State went up by 4 was big. Dayton Dex won this game. The Aztecs made 10 threes. That has to be close to their season high in makes. Love seeing Coach Calhoun getting into it with the crowd at the end. Had Spectrum Magic. Yeah, he was pretty fired up. I saw him pumped up there. Next text coming in, 2608. Do I understand Coach correctly? San Diego State has $2.4 million in NIL money, and we have a third of that. Yep.
This is unfortunately the reality of being in Logan, Utah. We love this place. We love the community. Unfortunately, it is just not a big market. Yep. Utah State's the biggest thing in this town, and it will be probably for forever. So,
and the income, if you look at the matrix, San Diego's income is one of the richest incomes in the country.
They're loaded out there, and they've got alumni that are very passionate, and so do we, just not to the financial level of San Diego State. I mean, obviously they have a larger alumni base too.
I'm working on the Powerball win.
And we're getting there. I think this season in particular has been really good for Utah State athletics and for, you know, alumni and boosters to kind of regenerate their faith in the program. And I think we're on the way as far as that kind of money is concerned. It's just not there yet. And that's kind of the struggle of being in the Valley and being out of the out of a major market. that being said, Utah State is doing all the correct things. The administration is doing all the correct things to get up on that level. The conference merger was such a huge move. I can't overstate how exciting that is that they got that done this year after, a decades-long history of being left out of mergers like that. So they're on track. It is going to be a slow process because that is unfortunately the nature of the game.
All right, 1790. We might disagree with this one a little bit, but Calhoun will be gone after this season. We will appreciate his contribution, just like the last few before him. It's not the AD or coach that makes this program special. It's the atmosphere in the program. The SEC and the Big Ten or no other power teams will always have bad team who need to coach and the money we can't match. The Pac-12 is not and will not be a Power 5. We can pretend the money discrepancy between $30 million to the $100 million or per more years. Hey, look, we're reporting what was said, what Coach Calhoun has said. He said he is like here, and I'm going to disagree with you. It's not just the hold on. It's not just the atmosphere. It's not just the program. It is the AD, ladies and gentlemen. It is the AD who brought in Coach Calhoun. It is Coach Calhoun that is making this program special right now with this group of players. If you think you can take anything out of this recipe and mix it up differently and we can just start putting anybody in at the head spot and making it work, I'm going to tell you that it doesn't work like that. Recipes don't cook, and there's been some magic here. There are things that go through this. Heck, my first 3 adoptions, I was told don't expect this to happen because kids were placed with us that became my children with their parental rights terminated, and that never happens in foster care. And then the 4th one, you pull up a chair one day, I'll tell you the horror story that was and how it went. I'm just saying appreciate the magic that it has right here. But Stockton, I'm going to step off my soapbox a little bit because the negativity
I'm
of
getting
just
so frustrated, man,
and the fact that everybody thinks that the spectrum is magic, the program is magic. I got you that, but if you don't think the chef, that's the AD, or the cook, that's the coach, matters in this case,
and look, and I'm sorry, but it's the same few people that want to be negative all the time and want to make these comments and act like they understand the situation, all this stuff. I'm sorry, but the facts are on paper. Like it's right in front of you. We're 24-4. Jerrod Calhoun is doing a fantastic job. The conference merger is a huge move in terms of money, notoriety, national attention. And if you can't see that, then just don't bother anymore. Like if you're going to continue to be negative and try and drag positives away from this program, do not bother anymore because you're not contributing anything.
Coming up next on the text line, we're going to go to 8070. Love seeing the depth of this team tonight. Also, I have to say it's satisfying to see our precious coaches not doing so hot after they leave.
Real.
Yeah. Compton's technical on San Diego on the end, well-deserved. He's getting very chippy. There was some I've watched a lot of these. Bird and Boyd are the ones that I really focused on with Guath out. And watching, Deaden Thomas and Dent and some of the other players that we've had come through, Nick Clifford, these guys that are just this exceptional talent. Yeah, I was a little disappointed with kind of the chippy attitude and the stuff that some of those guys had in that technical, well-deserved there, I think, at the end. 2688 here on the Aggie text line. It looks like we've got post-game. Who do we've got here? I got Coach Calhoun.
It's going to be Calhoun and Dex.
Yeah, let me see here. Actually, it's got to update here a second, so we'll take that a second. From 2688. Sorry about that. Very impressed with how Calhoun handles himself as a coach. There were some really hard calls against the Aggies, but Calhoun and his team were able to overcome all of that. Hey, after the Littlewood gate in Albuquerque, after Tony Nunez bumping him, really Coach Calhoun has shown me how to handle things with grace in intense pressure situations and how to come really, holding stuff back. Stockton, you see that? Like he's kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi out there on the floor when everything's getting crazy and messed up.
Yeah, it's, I'm sorry. I'm still hung up on that last text, man.
I know.
I am so frustrated that people can't appreciate a 24-4 team with a really good coach who just expressed in his post-game presser that he is working on an extension right now. Like, are you guys just determined to be miserable?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm kind of just shutting out the negativity just a little bit there. But yeah, I agree with you. 26-88. I love how Coach Calhoun handles this stuff.
100% too. Sorry, go ahead.
And it shows Coach Dreiling the way he handled everything.
Yes.
Coach
Nate Dreiling, I'm very glad that he ended up on a bigger staff too, because he
Boomer
100%
now.
deserves that.
You got Coach Wes Brooks, who the Aggie ladies. They're having a rough season when it comes to win-wise. But
Westbrook
really,
has the first conference win that program has in 3 years.
Yeah, and building a winner, bringing in recruits in. And I really think there is a standard that is showing in the coaches. And not to take
almost everything is going so well right now.
Yeah, not to take anything from Coach Smith or Coach Sprinkle. They're upstanding too, but really enjoying the level. I mean,
24-4 is the best start in a head coach in program history. Anyway, I also want to go back to the text right before that. While we're talking about Calhoun's kind of composure and stuff, 80-70 talking about Pharaoh Compton's technical at the end of the game. That dude deserved that technical. He had a lot to say tonight. The other part of it, too, is Calhoun realized after he had that bump in with Nunez a couple weeks ago, he's never going to win those arguments. He's never going to win those conversations. All he's going to do is hurt his team, and he can try and address it in the professional ways that are available after the game, if there are any. And again, we all know how accountability works with officials in college basketball, but all you can do is just focus on what you do on the floor, running your plays, keeping in your defense, shifting out to the corners when they need to. They did a really good job of adjusting out to the corners on shooters in the last 3 minutes, because that was a huge concern in the second half. But I think he's doing a very good job. He's focused on what needs to be focused on, and he's not concerning himself with the stuff that just he's never going to be able to control.
We're going to check in. It looks like we've got Coach Calhoun and Dexter Akanno are going to be on the post game. And just want to give a shout out to Mark Greenwood of the Utah Statesman for helping us out with the audio today. We had a little bit of an issue with our stuff, and Mark, being the superstar he is there at the Statesman, stepping in to help us out. So we'll check that in just a couple of minutes here on Aggie Call. 0891. I've had season tickets to Aggie basketball from well before Stu came along. This team with Calhoun at the helm has me more hyped than any other team. Now, that comes from 0891, who sends a text in every once in a while to share their information and what they said. Stockton, I think that is what Aggie fans should kind of hold on to. That's where we're at. 24-4. I mean,
you're already a lock to the NCAA tournament. It's going to be, the third coach in 5 years to take Utah State to an NCAA tournament.
That's good stuff.
You're in a really good position with that win. I also want to point out that might be the fuel that San Diego State needed to go and beat New Mexico on Tuesday night in San Diego, which could be huge for us. We're right back in a tie for first place in the conference and a regular season title. I mean, everything is going right now. There's a couple games that you really wish didn't play out the way they did. I think, the New Mexico game in the Spectrum, that one you did not play a good enough basketball game. The other three losses could have gone either way, in my opinion. This is a very talented basketball team. All of the numbers, all of the metrics point to that. And I don't think there's any reason at all for anyone to be doomsdaying about anything, because we only have really good opportunities in front of us for this basketball team. You've got 3 conference games that are going to be somewhat tough, but are a really good gut check going into the tournament. You got to go to Boise State. You got to go to Colorado State. And then you get to host Air Force after a week off going into the tournament, which is just a schedule blessing. That kind of stuff does not happen very often.
From the Ag Ship, Sharon, they shared this on X a second ago. New man on the beat, calling the postgame reporter Drake Allen pops in with a question for Dexter Akanno's decision to only miss from 3 threes on passes that Allen threw to him today. So I wonder if we'll hear that in the postgame. Wrapping up a few final comments here on Aggie Game Day or Aggie Call before we get into Coach Calhoun's comments. 6001. Of all the coaches the last few years, Coach Calhoun is the best out of all of them. I'm so glad he's in talks about an extension. I want the coach that is talking about a championship that could win on the road like him. I totally agree. Okay, 1790. Sprinkle was in the same spot last season that Calhoun is right now. We still appreciate him. Odin Smith were great too. Still happy they came. We'll be fine with the next coach and AD also. I get so emotional. I'm not being negative. Well,
you are. I'm sorry, you are.
Everything
you said was negative. You're assuming negative about every single situation coming down the road. You're assuming Calhoun's going to be gone after the season. You're assuming the Pac-12 is not going to pan out. You're assuming we're not going to get a whole lot of cash out of the Pac-12 deal. We don't know anything about any of this. And it's not just you. It's several people in the fan base that make these assumptions all the time. It's always, oh, well, our coach is going to leave. We're going to be terrible next year. Oh, we're not going to get as much money out of this as we thought we were. This conference realignment's not a good idea. I'm sorry, but get on board or just stop.
Here's where I got. We will be fine with the next coach and AD also. The AD's not going anywhere, and the coach just talked about a long-term extension here in town. So instead of focusing our energy on 22-4 and NCAA and a possible, conference tournament or tournament championship, we're talking about, we'll be fine when he leaves. We're already in the victim mode of preparing ourselves for that.
We have 30,000 things to be happy about tonight, and you're making up 3 things to be angry about. I'm not on board with that. I'm sorry.
So that's where we're at right now. 8968. There are some coaches that want to be with a good program where they are appreciated. Another Stu Morrill didn't seem possible. Also, Coach Calhoun, everybody watches sports and analyzes things differently, and I try to take the real sports psychology and sociology check. So I listen to the podcast that Coach Calhoun does. I listen to his interviews and all that stuff, and he has a different meaning. When he speaks about this, he's what a comment. Didn't he say it? No, you kind of did and everything that, and we're just going to leave it at that for the night.
It's not worth engaging anymore.
Yeah. So Coach has said everything positive about the way things are going here. He talks about his family enjoying it here, his kids loving it here, walking around town, and that's the kind of stuff that sticks out to me. Now, I wasn't here. I didn't know if Coach Sprinkle said the same thing or Coach Smith said the same thing, and maybe I'm the biggest sucker in the world. But right now, I'm going to be happy that Coach mentioned in the post game that he's talking extension with our current AD, who has no plans of going anywhere, either one of them. So
yeah, hey, but everyone, the text line knows better than the 2 people involved in the deal. So let's listen to them.
8070. Is this Ian's last year of eligibility? I believe it is. I don't know if Ian played any JUCO stuff. And that's all up in the air too. I don't know if anything like
There's
that.
There's a lot of questions about eligibility across the league right now.
8070. I'm going to refer that to the Full Court Press with Eric and Jason. They really dive into those issues. We've also mentioned the Fresno State betting issue, gambling thing that's going on right now that kind of broke earlier today. For all your Aggie news coverage, for all the latest Mountain West news and a breakdown of that, and probably the best people to ask about the junior college eligibility stuff, Full Court Press, 4 to 6, Monday through Friday on our sister station, 106.9 The Fan and 1390 AM.
We know he's a senior. We know he's been a journeyman. I do believe this is his final season of eligibility. I think he's going to be honored on senior night and all that stuff. But again, there's still some like Supreme Court stuff that's up in the air about eligibility and who gets an extra year, who doesn't get an extra year, how COVID still affects the league. I mean, the COVID year guys have basically aged out now, but there's just a lot that still has to be determined about what the actual eligibility rules are. To put it simply, though, I do think this is Ian's last year.
Yeah. And
I want to add one thing, too, just to get the positivity back in the room here.
Okay.
D-Will wants the world to know that he was Dexter's sneaker plug for his new Kobe's that Dex wore tonight. So if you need sneakers that are going to make you an absolute witch on the basketball court, hit up D-Will. That was some witchcraft from Dexter tonight, man. He sacrificed something to someone before that game. Whatever he did today, he needs to do every day for the rest of his life.
All right, coming up here, we've got Dexter Akanno. We've got Coach Calhoun's post-game comments. Thanks to Mark at the Statesman for helping us hook up with the audio. So we're going to be rolling that out. It is just about a 20-minute post-game presser. So we'll be here with you and then wrap it up after that.
We got one more text here.
Okay.
8824. You have to understand that Aggie fans have heard the same thing from several recent past coaches. They are all mercenaries, same as the AD. When more money presents itself, they'll leave, and it's okay. The spectrum and what makes USU special will not leave with them. Yes, we understand that, but that's not the point, is it? The point is that tonight you have a team that just beat San Diego State twice in conference play for the first time in program history.
And
they're 24-4. They're a lock for the NCAA tournament, and we are already speculating that Calhoun is going to be leaving. minutes after he says in his press conference that he is working on an extension with Diana.
Yeah,
so I know what's been said to Aggie fans. I've been an Aggie fan. I've been here. I've seen it happen for the last 5 years. We are well aware of how the coaching carousel goes, but to assume it's going to go like that when the man himself is saying the opposite is just, it's unnecessarily negative, and I'm not on board with it. Yeah, I am probably a little more upset about it than I should be, and I apologize if people are getting hot about this, but listen, I'm really sick and tired of all the doomsdaying after a win like that and people being so obsessed with things going wrong. Why can't we just be happy when things go right?
Yeah, it is. I will tell you that in the magic of radio a little bit, there is things that as the captain of the ship that I don't allow through. And we get a lot of it. After there is wins like this, the two things, coach is going to leave, fire Sabo, or Sabo's this, or Sabo's that.
Oh, there's so many texts we don't read.
And that's the stuff that we move to the side. The full court press is there with Eric and Jason to discuss that stuff. We're focused on basketball, and we report what we see. Coach Calhoun talking about an extension, and that's what we're going to focus on. 0891, I see Calhoun being here for a long time. Logan is great for his family. He's getting the money. He's winning. I truly believe he can take us to a national brand team like Gonzaga. Be patient, support, and believe.
Support and believe, because if you keep saying he's going to leave, you might just put that idea in his head.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to go out and roll the interview right now. Thanks to Marcus from the Utah Statesman for helping us out, and Jason Walker always getting this together. Here's Coach Calhoun's post-game interview here on KVNU Aggie Call.
Send me those numbers in the morning. There's some weird ones.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. All right, guys, fire away.
Just like you drew it up, right?
You know, Sean, we knew at San Diego State that this was going to be a tough physical game. First of all, hats off to them. Magoon Guath, I got 3 calls in the last 2 days from NBA scouts. So him not playing obviously impacted their team, and I hope for his sake, first and foremost, with their team, that he gets healthy. He's a wonderful player, but they got a lot of star power, right? I mean, this is a very, very talented team. So for us to play through a little fatigue, a little bit of offensive struggle throughout the game, to hold them to 71 points is why we won. We out-rebounded them by 8. There's a big size difference between us and them, right? I mean, you can see it. So I give our guys a ton of credit. The physicality, the rebounding, ball security. We only had 7 turnovers. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the country turning you over. And really, I got to credit the Herd, the best student section in the country, and our fan base. I thought our fans were, this was probably the best I've seen at Spectrum. But obviously, we have a ton of respect for San Diego State, and, we got a big week coming up.
I want to ask about kind of the big stretch there where San Diego State hits 11 of 13 from the field, but then they take a 4-point lead. What went into that, but then also the response where you guys closed the game.
Yeah, a lot of screaming, to be honest with you. Really was disappointed in that stretch, Jason. We've been really on them to finish. We've been making it really hard in practice. We've been doing a drill we call the Nebraska drill, where basically got to get 4 to 5 stops in a row, right? You got to play through some fatigue, and I thought Boyd was just having his way. So I called those 2 timeouts. We switched our ball screen defense. I told Coach Howard, I'm not watching this anymore, and we honestly changed it, and it worked, right? And sometimes that happens throughout a game, but just the ability to keep him in front a little bit better down the stretch, I think, was the game changer. And I give Dayton and Dexter a ton of credit. We now just assume Ian's going to get 17 or 18 a game, right? I mean, he had 18 points, and nobody's going to talk about him. Martinez is as solid as they come. I think he's an all-Mountain West player, first team. He's a terrific player. But I thought Dex and DA were tremendous tonight. DA was 12 of 13. If you come up here between 8 and 10 o'clock at night, there's 2 guys, right? Dex is a morning guy, and then Falslev and DA have been working with somebody that Mason knows here in town at the free throw line, right? Just visualizing the shot go in, getting his breathing right, and, we probably need to hire that guy because it worked.
Speaking of Dexter and Dayton, seems like their role has increased from the beginning of the year up until this point. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit about what you've seen in their growth, their maturity, and kind of what leads them to have this kind of performance against this kind of team?
Yeah, I told them at halftime, guys, we're 20 minutes away from really putting ourselves in a great spot playing in the NCAA tournament. I mean, let's call it like it is. You only have 3 games left. These metrics will be measured big time, right? You can't lose home games. Dex, DA, Tuck, we got a lot of guys that really went up 2 weight classes, right? And what I mean by that, there's a big difference between the Atlantic Sun in the Mountain West. Dex is a guy that played at Oregon State. He played in the Pac-12. He played against UCLA, USC. Dex is used to it. So he's just been a wonderful kid. I mean, I hope his mom's here. I don't know if she is. But she's done a wonderful job raising him. A single mom, nurse. Her and I have a lot of conversations, a lot of text messages. She tells me this is the best decision of his life. DA, same thing. I mean, he transferred from Queens. He went up. Tucker Anderson went up, and Auburn went up. Those 3 kids that transferred from the A-Sun. So it took them a little while to understand, the expectations of this place and trying to play in, NCAA tournaments and win conference championships and, hopefully taking that step to the second weekend. But they're wonderful kids. I've said all along, that's what makes this job different. You got J.C. Carroll down there on the call. You got Spencer. You got Spencer Butterfield, Preston Medlin in the building, right? I just talked to all those guys. There's a care factor, right? And there's some purity to what we're doing here, and it's been really good.
Coach, this is the time of year where rumors kind of start to swirl. Utah State has lost a lot of coaches in the last couple of years. Do you care to comment on your long-term plans here at Utah State?
Yeah, I don't. I don't shy from any questions. When we were 10-0, Diana and I sat down, and her and I have been on the same page from day one. Patrick, I've been amazed. With the process from getting here, right, from the interview process to now, right? Usually when you go to places, you kind of have to really learn on the job. You learn, some things may not be what, was kind of talked about on the interview process. That's been the total opposite. So when we were 10-0, we started talking, and we've had great conversations. Obviously, we've now have had a president change. We're in the process of trying to work out a long-term deal right now, to be honest with you. I have 3 little girls. I told Dutch this before the game. I thought he did a wonderful job on Field of 68. So if you go back and watch it, you should watch it. He talks about planning already for next year. If you're not planning for next year with your current roster, right, and trying to retain players, you just cannot move forward, right? We have a chance to retain 6, 8, whatever it is, our roster. So I just want to make sure that, just a couple things, right? Our NIL collective, to me, is something that's been growing, something that I'm really, really proud of, the steps we've made, right? Obviously, I think everybody in town knows Jim Lobb has stepped up in a major way for this university, not just for our sport, but for all sports. So there's been hundreds of other people that have stepped up. So I like where we're at. I like where Diana's, leadership is in this department. So you have to have the NIL right. You've got to maintain your staff, right? It's not just about Coach Calhoun. You got to have good players. You got to have good staff, good cohesion, and I think we can be, just as good next year. I'll be honest with you. I think we're going to really miss Dex and Ian and Auburn, but we got a lot of guys back, and I think it's the Cache Valley, it's the athletic department, it's my job, all of us to work together to figure out how we can make that happen. Right, Patrick? So, yeah, Mason Falstaff, I'm his 4th coach. I mean, that's a rarity. That's really unheard of, and you almost forget who recruited him. He and I are very, very close. I'm very close with this group, and, I love him to death.
Coach, kind of want to ask you there, like Jason kind of said, there was a stretch where San Diego State just punch and makes a bunch of shots. You're down 67-65, 3.5 minutes. And then it felt just like clamps came down on defense, and really they got nothing the rest of the way pretty much. What did you see that kind of just flipped the switch and you guys going that run and really shut them down that game?
Yeah, I think just, it sounds simple, but just keeping the man with the ball in front of you and staying out of rotations, I talked to Joe Mazzulla yesterday for about 35 minutes.
San Diego State plays defense different than anybody we faced in the conference or the non-league, right? I think Brian Dutcher, if you look at his statistics the last 5 years, he got one of the best defenses in the country. Him and Calvin Sampson at Houston, right? There's a reason Sweet 16s, and, everybody's kind of got their niche. So I kind of took this really, really personal, that I'm going up against one of the best defensive coaches in the country, right? I take great pride. I have a ton of respect for him. He knows that. So I kind of, dug pretty deep on how we're going to attack switches, how we're going to score the ball. And to be honest with you, I thought we should have scored a lot more. So we're one of the better offenses in the country. We're up to 14th, I think. Jason, is that right? Today in adjusted offense. So, when we're humming like that and we're moving the ball, heck, we're hard to guard. But at the end of the day, it starts and ends with your defense, right? Good offense is led by good defense, and that's creating steals, that's creating transition, finishing box outs. I credit the officials. I thought they did a really good job tonight. And I think you have to give credit where credit's due. That's a tough physical game. I thought they let us play through some contact, which I think you should. Let the best players be on the floor.
I want to ask about your seniors here and how important they've been for you this season, but also in this game. I mean, they've all played well. They all stepped up. Auburn had 5 offensive rebounds. Dayton gives you 18. Dexter gives you 26. Rick was good off the bench. What did those guys mean for you tonight and just in general for this team?
Yeah, I mean, everyone, life's about stories, right? Storytelling. And I think each kid here has a great story to tell. Aubin is just a wonderful kid. He's gotten a lot better. This group, what makes this group really good is they just really like each other. The FS1 guys came in today, and, it was Ernie Kent's son. Ernie Kent was a great coach at Oregon, won a lot of games, Sweet 16s. I think he went to Elite 8. Actually beat Paulie and Manny at Winthrop one year to go to the Sweet 16. And he said, man, I can just feel it in the shoot-around. He was there for like 45 minutes. The connectivity and the attention to detail, and the kids love each other. These seniors, it's hard to come into a new place, right? I mean, you got guys from all over the country, but I think it speaks volumes to how they feel about Logan and how they feel about the basketball program and their brothers and the brotherhood. Like I had Bobby put in my office, like we talk about the brotherhood. It's not just our players, it's getting the former players back, and that's what all the great programs have. That's what Jay Wright built at Villanova, Roy Williams in North Carolina, and Coach Stu here. And you gotta really honor your seniors and play for those kids. And I talk about it every day, man. Like, it's coming to an end, unfortunately. So, like I asked them how many of them were nervous. We talked about, Joe gave me some great advice on things to talk with them about, and I thought they opened up. And, certain guys have, anxiety. Certain guys know this is coming to an end. So just let it rip. Have fun, let it rip, play loose. I think Diana told me that 2-3 weeks ago. We look tight, right? We look tight, and you don't want to have a team that's tight. And I thought since those conversations, we've been a lot better.
Is it nice being on the better side of the free throw discrepancy?
Oh, man, it's just like you'll be able to sleep tonight, Jason, right? Like you're not getting direct messages about should we keep the crowd down during free throws and those sorts of things. But that's just their hard work, man, not giving up on it. And, we do a shootout every day. I'll leave you with this. So I have not shot all year, so I went to the free throw line today against Auburn. It's that shoot around right before we eat, and I went 10 for 10. And they were laughing, and I said, I think you guys are gonna make every one of them tonight. But they only missed 6, and they got what did we finish? 82%. That'll help the numbers. We'll probably be about 9th or 10th, right? Weren't we 11th in the conference? So
I kind of want to ask you just one last thing. Kind of focusing on the defense, but on the offensive side, San Diego State during that run, you kind of matched them. You went blow for blow. You were hitting shots the same thing. What was working for you on offense during that stretch?
Yeah, just offensive concepts. Just kind of watching the tape and figuring out switches. Number 23 for them. What is his last name? Ferrari. What a wonderful kid. I mean, he says, Coach, quit putting me in ball screens, man. So all we did was we had whoever he was guarding come up and set a ball screen, get the switch, and we were going to go one-on-one. And if you watch the handshake line, we embraced and gave a hug because he knew what I was trying to do. We were trying to isolate him and go at him every play. But he made a huge corner 3. I told him, I said, man, you stretch the floor, you're a good player. but just trying to figure out little things like that to get better at. All right, here comes Dex. You guys don't need to hear from me. Thanks, Coach.
You're listening to Aggie Call here on KVNU 102.1 FM 610 AM. Listening to the post-game conference. Just heard from Coach Calhoun. Now Dexter Akanno getting sent up after a record night for him. 26 points, 7 3-pointers, and the Aggies' lifeblood tonight as the Akanno is here in Cache Valley. We'll check back in to Dexter Akanno's press conference now on Aggie Call.
Well, I got nothing, so. You guys all set? Okay, we got graduate guard Dexter Akanno. If you guys just want to jump right in with some questions.
Dexter, would you consider this the game of the night?
I think so. I mean, up to this point, probably. From an offensive standpoint, I mean, there's always things that, I need to improve on and work on. But I just, give glory to God, for helping us pull out this win today.
How good did it feel to close that game out with that 14-2 run? You're down by 4 and things were looking maybe a little bleak, and then you guys made all the free throws.
No, amazing. I mean, I just give credit to my coaches, all the coaches on staff, and the players just staying composed and just carrying the game out. So that's something that we preach about in practices leading up to this game, and we knew it was going to be a dogfight, and I thank God that we were able to pull it out today.
What has this season meant to you personally as a player, playing for that crowd and with these guys? What is it meant for you?
It's something that, me and my family and all my close ones, prayed about. Just coming to Utah State, and I knew kind of what the atmosphere was going to be like. And I could just tell, my first day on campus that not only the fans, but just the community of Cache Valley is going to ride for you and ride for this team and all of athletics. So, I just thank God for giving me this opportunity to play in front of the herd and just Cache Valley, the Cache Valley people here. So.
You make those first couple of threes. Does it feel like a lot of times they see a shooter kind of gets in a rhythm? It's like you really were in a rhythm today.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it was just got wider and wider than the basket after you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more just focusing on winning the game. And I think if I just play my heart out and focus on winning the game, that takes pressure out and pressure away from me and just my teammates as well.
Dexter, it was a really physical game where both teams just playing hard going at it. What was it like from the player perspective, game being not physical and just trying to make it all the way through the full 40 minutes?
I mean, credit to San Diego State. We knew, like I said before, it was going to be a dogfight. And, the coaches did a great job of just preparing us. And everybody in practice was locked in. And we knew the kind of physicality that they were going to bring. And I'm just, glad that we were able to pull it out today.
Kind of expect Ian to be able to hit those free throws, but Dayton 12 of 13 from the free throw line was huge. And probably felt really good for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely had to get those extras right there. I think that's really credit to the coaches as well, especially Dayton as well and everybody else that hit free throws down the stretch and just throughout the game. But the coaches did a great job of just shifting our focus going into free throws, giving us different drills and stuff in practice, and guys just going in on their own time to, work on free throws because we know it's been, I guess, an Achilles heel for us. And, I think we kind of answered the call tonight. So we just have to keep it going throughout the rest of the year and postseason.
Was your mom here?
Nah, she wasn't here.
Coach said she How important was it for the offense to have Dayton working as kind of that release valve where he just got to the basket over and over again and collapsed the defense so many times?
Oh, man, amazing. I mean, I take Dayton over, all of the guards in the Mountain West. Just so quick, so explosive. His first step is so quick, and once he gets into that paint, it's just explosion is going to come. I mean, you never know with him. And I think in the beginning of the year, he had to just kind of find his rhythm, and I think he definitely found it throughout these last couple of games and just throughout the season. We kind of saw like spurts of it, and I'm just proud of him and really just everybody on the team as well. But we're talking about Dane. I'm definitely proud of him for sure.
Seems like throughout the season, your role has kind of like steadily increased. You've started the last 6 games where for most of the season you were coming off the bench, still playing a lot of minutes. But like your scoring has increased. It seems like you're kind of a little bit more of a leader. Like maybe the coaches have to trust you a little bit more lately. What is the journey this year just kind of been like, being in a new school, transferring, and kind of getting to the point where you're starting, you're having a good rapport with the coaches, your teammates, you're playing well, that kind of stuff? No,
I mean, just it's been a blessing. I mean, I knew coming into the school, coming into the program is going to be, a fight, and it's a fight that I'm, I welcome. It's something that, I prayed on, and I'm really glad that everything kind of went the way that it did. I don't know if it would have turned out, if I would have, had everything in the beginning of the season, maybe I wouldn't be as hungry, or, whatever the case may be. So, God never fails, and He knows what's right. So.
Does it mean something more to you being a Southern California kid to sweep San Diego State?
Nah, I think it's just, every team you want to beat. So we obviously know that, San Diego State is going to be a dogfight. Last game, San Jose, it was going to be a fight. Continuing forward, Colorado State, Boise State is going to be a fight for these last, 3 games. Air Force, it's going to be a fight for these last 3 games. So just taking every opponent like it's a championship game. That's what the coaches have done a great job of relaying to us, and I think we've done a great job of just carrying that game plan out for the most part.
What was it like getting the water shower at the end of the game?
Oh, man, it's amazing. Those are my brothers. This one of my brothers right there, Drake Allen, is just amazing. It's a dream come true.
Anything else?
All right, Drake called the last question. You went almost perfect from 3-point line, except for the one that I threw you. You have anything to say about that shot? Or?
I'm pretty sure I hit one from you as well, and, throughout the season, I definitely credit you for a lot of my open threes. Yes, sir. So, you see he has a fit on as well, Diesel.
That's wrapping up Dexter Akanno's press conference there. That would be new Utah State journalism student Drake Allen.
Shoot, I guess I'll see him in class.
Asking some of the questions there. Wrapping up here, Aggie Call. Final thoughts. A couple texts rolling through. We'll throw them out here real quick. 0891. I see Calhoun being here for a long time. Logan is great for his family. He's getting the money. He's winning. I truly believe he can take us to a national brand team like Gonzaga. We got 1027. I couldn't agree with you more. Let's enjoy and be grateful for a great coach, great players who are making the season so fun. Coaches come and go in all sports, college and professional. Let's be positive about what we have and not worry about what may or may not come. Man, you could just take that for everything in life. There, 1027. If you want to make a positive impact on keeping good players and coaches, put your wallet out and contribute. And then 3426, dropping this. Calhoun sounds to me like a guy who wants to build a program and stick around for a long time. It sounds as if he and his wife are happy in the community, as well with the university. Let him walk the walk before you start to talk. He's walked the walk so far. So,
and listen, this is a guy who's almost 3 decades into his coaching career, and he's coming out of Youngstown State. This is a big step up for him, and I think it's for a lot of us, we got to stop having the mentality of Utah State is a stepping stone program, because it's just not anymore. They play better basketball than that, and it's a disservice to call them that.
I agree with you. It's one of the things to talk about. Like, I was kind of kicking it around during the interview and why we get so passionate about it. Like, we're in the conference room watching this, and Eric stopped by for a little bit of the final moments of the game, and I'm telling him I'm having heart palpitations, man. I haven't gotten this into sports in a while, and usually it was my professional teams and things like this. I'm living and dying with this team, so very passionate, and just listening to the words that Coach is saying and what Coach Calhoun and what the players are saying. They really love it here. He loves it here.
And how can you not be emotional about this team at this point, man?
Yeah,
what
it's
a
just,
ride this is.
I mean, think about the football season. I was thinking about that night after USC. It was a money game. We were on until 1 o'clock in the morning, and that was really kind of that frustrating kind of moment. And then to think about how basketball season has just been kind of like this gift. 24-4, Stockton.
It's like showering in the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
I'm already young, but goodness.
Stockton speaking to me over there. So coming up, the 26th of February, which I will be hanging out all with you on my final day of being 43. So the 27th, my birthday. So hoping for an Aggie win. They have to travel.
We're throwing a rager, by the way. We're going to find out where he lives, and everyone's showing up at once. I'll drop the address on Twitter.
Yeah, just do it before like the street lights come on, because I tend to be in bed after the Golden Girls and Jeopardy come on.
I know Stacy would love a good party. We'll go over and have a party with Stacy.
She would. Yeah, Stacy would love to see Stockton come over.
We love Stacy. Big Stacy fan.
But we take on the team that's not a state in Boise. The Broncos coming up. Early predictors have the Aggies dropping this one, according to the ESPN analytics.
After what Dagenhart did in New Mexico, I'm not too surprised. But the way we've been playing basketball the last 3 games, I feel good. Again, coming into this one, I felt really good. I didn't think there would be too much to be concerned about. And it was a close game, but it was a good game. And we played at the end like the team that we are. I expect more of that on Wednesday.
How do you feel about the student section there in Boise? You think they're going to try to show up on a Wednesday night at 8:30? So 8:30.
When do they show up, JD? I'm not sure.
All right. Well, I think on that note,
it'll be like sacrament meeting.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. The A is blue thanks to Mr. Dexter Akanno. I hope he got to light it up himself. And just a great night from Dexter. A great team win for the Aggies tonight. 24-4 with just 3 games left in the season to go. We got Wednesday night against Boise State. And then we got a couple Saturday games. Then it's tournament time. Then it's hopefully dancing time.
Not hopefully, brother. We are locked.
Well, I'm not going to put the cart before the horse there.
I am. I'm dragging that cart with me.
For Stockton Jukes, Jalen Moore, I'm J.D. Walker. Thanks for allowing us to do radio in the greatest place on earth for the greatest people on earth here in Cache Valley. That A is blue tonight. Be careful out there. It's definitely 16 degrees and very cold. Get home safe and be careful, and we'll see you next time here on Aggie Call on KVNU Logan.
This Utah State broadcast has been a presentation of News Talk KVNU and the Cache Valley Media Group, the heritage home for the Aggies.